શું છે કોરોના વાયરસ? કોરોના વાયરસ વિષાણુઓના પરિવારનો વાયરસ છે જે ઊંટ, બિલાડી અને ચામાચીડિયા સહિતના ઘણા પશુઓ દ્વારા સંક્રમિત થઈ શકે છે. WHOના જણાવ્યા પ્રમાણે કોરોના વાયરસ સી ફૂડ સાથે જોડાયેલો હોઈ શકે છે. કોરોના વાયરસના લક્ષણો: શરદી, ખાંસી, ગળામાં દુખાવો, શ્વાસ લેવામાં તકલીફ વગેરે હોઈ શકે છે, જે ન્યુમોનિયામાં બદલાઈ જાય છે અને કિડનીને પણ નુકસાન પહોંચાડે છે તથા ફેફસામાં પણ સંક્રમિત થઈ જાય છે. કોરોના વાયરસ અંગેની તમામ જાણકારી માટે એક હેલ્પલાઇન નંબર જાહેર કરવામાં આવ્યો છે, જે 24 કલાક સક્રિય રહે છે. આ નંબર છે 011-2397-8046. કોરોના વાયરસથી બચવાના ઉપાયો: વારંવાર સાબુથી હાથ ધોવા જોઈએ. શરદી અને ખાંસીથી સંક્રમિત લોકોએ પોતાના મોઢા પર માસ્ક પહેરવા જોઈએ. શરદી, ખાંસી અને તાવથી પીડાતા લોકોથી સલામત અંતર.
અત્યારે માત્ર ભણવામાં તારું ધ્યાન આપ અને એટલું વિચાર કે હું સારામાં સારા માર્ક્સ કઈ રીતે લાવી શકું.
રોજ દીપ સાથે રમવું જરૂરી છે. કોઈ વખત ઓફિસમાં વધારે કામ હોય તો થાક ના લાગ્યો હોય એટલે મને શાંતિ જોઈએ છે.
મને સતત ચિંતા થયા કરે છે કે જો મારી નોકરી ના રહી તો આ તારા અણધાર્યા ખર્ચાના કારણે ક્રેડિટ કાર્ડનું બિલ વધી ગયું છે. આ તને સેલનું છે ને વળગણ વળગી ગયું છે. સેલનું વ્યસન થઈ ગયું છે, વ્યસન તને.
જિંદગી છે તો પ્રશ્નો તો ચાલતા રહેવાના, પણ જ્યાં પ્રશ્નો હોય ત્યાં તેના ઉકેલ પણ હોવાના જ. હતાશા, નિરાશા ને દૂર ખંખેરી એકવાર દિલથી કહો હેલો જિંદગી. दूरदर्शन डीडी गिरनार ऊपर.
जरूरत है जरूरत है जरूरत है एक श्रीमती की कलावती की सेवा करे जो पति की. जरूरत है जरूरत है जरूरत है.
अभी अभी तो आई हो बहार बन के छाई हो. हवा जरा महक तो ले, नजर जरा बहक तो ले, ये शाम ढल तो ले जरा.
मेरा बैरागी मन डोल गया, मेरा बैरागी मन डोल गया. देखी जादा तेरी मस्ताना.
भोली सूरत दिल के खोटे, नाम बड़े और दर्शन छोटे, दर्शन छोटे. भोली सूरत दिल के खोटे, नाम बड़े और दर्शन छोटे, दर्शन छोटे.
મળે જવાબના સિતારા.
વિવિધ ક્ષેત્રમાં સંગે સફર કરતા સંગાથીના જીવનની વાત એટલે કાર્યક્રમ સંગાથ.
તું લખે છે બ્રેઇલમાં ને હાથ મારો અંત છે.
જાગરે બંદે ઉઠ રે બંદે રાહ ન કોઈ ઉપાય.
રે સોહાગણ બેની
સંગ સાથ રહે સંગાથ. જોવાનું ચૂકશો નહીં. દર ગુરુવારે સાંજે 7:30 કલાકે, રવિવારે બપોરે 3 અને 10 કલાકે અને રાત્રે 9 અને 30 કલાકે માત્ર ડીડી ગિરનાર પર.
જાગી 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 હું તો હરિમુખ જોવા જાગી રે.
આવે અપરમ પાર પ્રભુનું નામ લીજો.
कहत कबीरा सुनो भाई साधो, अमरापुर पहुँचाऊं. ओ અંતરે ત્રિવેણી તીર્થ.
વિવિધ ક્ષેત્રમાં સંગે સફર કરતા સંગાથીના જીવનની વાત એટલે કાર્યક્રમ સંગાથ.
હબી બહુ જરૂરી છે.
હું લખવામાં બી એ જ લોકોના રેફરન્સ લઈ રહ્યો છું જેને હું મળ્યો છું.
લવ એટલે કે પ્રેમ એટલે કે શરત એટલે કે બંધન એટલે કે.
સંગ સાથ રહે સંગાથ. જોવાનું ચૂકશો નહીં. દર ગુરુવારે સાંજે 7:30 કલાકે, રવિવારે બપોરે 3 અને 10 કલાકે અને રાત્રે 9 અને 30 કલાકે માત્ર ડીડી ગિરનાર પર.
આપની મનપસંદ ચેનલ ડીડી ગિરનાર પર
we invite on the dais Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Mr. Vijay Rupani, Honorable Minister, Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, Mr. Prakash Javadekar, Honorable Minister of State, Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, Mr. Babul Supriyo, a warm welcome to all our dignitaries. And we request CMS Executive Secretary Ms. Amy Frankel, UNEP Deputy Secretary Ms. Joyce Misuga, Secretary Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, Mr. C.K. Mishra, to escort the dignitaries to the dais. And we also welcome on the dais Chief Secretary, Government of Gujarat, Mr. Anil Mukim. We are indeed honored to welcome all the dignitaries on the dais. And we also extend a warm welcome to representatives of 130 countries party to the convention, CMS Secretariat officials, senior officials, honorable ministers and senior officials from Government of India and Gujarat, international civil society organizations, technical experts, policy makers, and members of the media present in this August gathering. We begin this inaugural session with a prayer to Lord Ganesha, the Hindu deity of new beginnings, success, wisdom, and remover of obstacles. All deities in the Hindu pantheon are depicted with various birds and animals as their vehicles. The prayer to Lord Ganesha is woven around the theme of unity in diversity, with performers representing cultures of East, West, North, and South India.
के गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते नारायणी नमोस्तुते नारायणी नमोस्तुते शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु
This prayer dance was coordinated and presented by Department of Forest together with Department of Sports, Youth and Cultural Activities, Government of Gujarat. We now invite Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Vijay Rupani, Honorable Union Minister, Mr. Prakash Javadekar, and Honorable Union Minister of State, Mr. Babul Supriyo, to light the inaugural lamp. We also invite all other dignitaries on the dais to join in this auspicious ceremony. The lamp, also known as diya in Hindi, is native to the Indian subcontinent, often used for religious auspicious ceremonies and prayers. It signifies enlightenment, knowledge, and wisdom. Vishvadevaha Shantihi, Brahma Shantihi, Sarva Shantihi, meaning we pray for the peace conveyed by the divinities of the nature and thereby to the vast underlying peace of Brahma, the omnipresent God of creation, who created all plants and animals with special characteristics and functions for each of them. The Hindu Dharma Shastra Manu Samhita provides the code and instructions for conservation of biodiversity. Thank you, dignitaries. The theme for the COP13 has been adopted from India's age-old saying, Atithi Devo Bhavaha, meaning guests are welcomed as gods and so are migratory birds. The theme being migratory species connect the planet and together we welcome them home. We now bring to you the theme song rendered by Honorable Union Minister of State, a renowned playback singer of Hindi and Bengali cinema since the 90s, Mr. Babul Supriyo. Penned specially to mark this convention by the noted Indian writer and poet, Mr. Prasoon Joshi, and composed by Mr. Jeet Ganguly.
ये धरती बुला रही है, खुल के ये पंख फैलाओ, ये धरती बुला रही है। उड़ आओ, ये धरती बुला रही है, खुल के ये पंख फैलाओ, ये धरती बुला रही है। उड़ आओ, ये धरती बुला रही है, खुल के ये पंख फैलाओ, ये धरती बुला रही है।
खोल दो तुम पंख प्यारे, आसमां हम बिछा देंगे। खोल दो तुम पंख प्यारे, आसमां हम बिछा देंगे। तुम पधारो देश हमारे, तुम पधारो देश हमारे, हम हवाएं सजा देंगे जहां तुमको चैन आए, ऐसी दुनिया बना देंगे।
उड़ आओ, ये धरती बुला रही है, खुल के ये पंख फैलाओ, ये धरती बुला रही है।
रीत अपनी है युगों से, अपने मेहमान का ध्यान रखना। द्वार मन के खोल रखना, उसके स्वागत में
मुस्कान रखना।
खोल दो तुम पंख प्यारे, आसमां हम बिछा देंगे। तुम पधारो देश हमारे, हम हवाएं सजा देंगे।
उड़ आओ, ये धरती बुला रही है, खुल के ये पंख फैलाओ, ये धरती बुला रही है। उड़ आओ, ये धरती बुला रही है, खुल के ये पंख फैलाओ, ये धरती बुला रही है।
है उड़ानों को बचाना, हमको एहसास है। तुम प्रकृति हो, तुम सृजन हो, एक विश्वास है।
उड़ आओ ना तुम,
खोल दो तुम पंख प्यारे, आसमां हम बिछा देंगे। तुम पधारो देश हमारे, तुम पधारो सजा देंगे जहां तुमको चैन आए, ऐसी दुनिया बना देंगे।
उड़ आओ, ये धरती बुला रही है, खुल के ये पंख फैलाओ, ये धरती बुला रही है। उड़ आओ, ये धरती बुला रही है, खुल के ये पंख फैलाओ, ये धरती बुला रही है। उड़ आओ, ये धरती बुला रही है, खुल के ये पंख फैलाओ, ये धरती बुला रही है। उड़
And with that theme, we once again welcome you all. Be our guests, our Atithi. We now invite Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, Mr. C.K. Mishra, for the welcome address.
Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Honorable Union Minister for Forest, Environment and Climate Change, Honorable Minister of State, different ministers, honorable ministers from different countries, Executive Secretary of CMS, Deputy Executive Director UNEP, my colleague Mr. Anil Mukim, Excellencies, ministers from different states of India, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege for me to be here for this event. Let me, first and foremost, on behalf of the Government of India, the CMS, and the people of India, welcome you to the 13th COP at Gandhi Nagar. Gujarat symbolizes the Mahatma. Mahatma Gandhi always emphasized and championed the cause of freedom. Hence, at this COP, we'll be discussing the freedom of the migratory species so that they freely move from one land to another and we join hands to protect and conserve them. The Mahatma said, the earth has enough for everybody's need, but not enough for everybody's greed. And we follow that principle. Welcome to the land of India, where nature is ingrained in every individual. Our culture and species are worshipped here. India is among the largest biodiverse country and the largest mega-diverse country, including several migratory species. India has been reaching out to the globe to find solutions to the problems of ecology and conservation. You'll be happy to know that within a space of 6 months, this is the second COP on environment that India is hosting. Towards the end of last year, we hosted the UNCCD COP, and now we are doing the CMS. I'm sure India would gain in wisdom from the experience and success stories from the parties to this convention, learning from the global stalwarts and experts, and developing new plans and new ideas as we go along over the next week. Excellencies, we must underline the importance of migratory species that connect the world. Ecological connectivity will better protect the migratory species and their habitats. 2020 is a super year for environment. In fact, a make or break year, which will set the tone for the environmental action in the decade to come. Excellencies, I do seriously wish that while we discuss the conservation of migratory species, we also focus a little on migration of thought, experience, and best practices among the various countries that are present here, so that we can be able to genuinely join hands in our efforts to succeed. The coming week will be action-packed. We hope you will have a fruitful discussion with concrete decisions. We cannot any longer waver in our decisions. And I'm sure the decision can be only one, to act and act well. I once again welcome you to this COP at Gandhinagar. Amidst all the hard work that you do, I hope you will find time to see around and experience the rich culture, heritage, and history of India. Let me wish you a very pleasant stay here, and thank you once again for coming to India. Let me also express our sincere gratitude to the government of Gujarat for hosting this event and making this event a remarkably memorable one. Ladies and gentlemen, we wish you a great week ahead. And before I leave, On behalf of all of you, let me also welcome the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, who will be joining us in a while over video conference to be with you this morning. I wish everyone all success. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. At the end of the 1960s, Apollo 8 astronauts provided the first photos of the globe as seen from the moon, which made us all aware of the environmental crisis. Luca Parmitano, commander of the International Space Station during 1961 expedition, dedicated his mission in raising awareness of the environmental crisis of our time. And today, Luca has a message for us. May we have the AV, please?
Hello, I'm astronaut Luca Parmitano of the European Space Agency and commander of the International Space Station during Mission Beyond. The view from space can provide such clarity on how all natural systems are deeply interconnected and support the most precious thing in the universe, life. From orbit, you also realize how vulnerable and at risk life on Earth can be. The iconic image of the Earth, seen for the first time from space over 50 years ago, captivated the whole world. Yet today, I can testify that this image is visibly transforming, with alarming evidence of the present environmental crisis. Our home is changing at an unnatural rate and an unprecedented one, to the point where we are in danger of losing over 1 million different species just in our lifetime. Migratory animals are among the most vulnerable species on the planet. They do not know borders, and during their often long and difficult journeys, they frequently encounter many threats from human activities. They need a connected series of sites they can go throughout their lives. They serve as ambassadors, connecting not just areas and ecosystems, but also nations and people. I'm glad to know that the Convention on Migratory Species is there to help us solve these challenges together. The whole world relies on your actions to guarantee their survival and to stop them from disappearing from this planet forever. You have an important week ahead of you. While in India, you will no doubt be reminded of what Gandhi said. The future depends on what we do in the present. The negotiations of the coming days can make a difference for the future of wildlife and the entire planet. I wish you a successful meeting for the future of planet Earth, our shared home.
That was Luca Parmitano. Ms. Joyce Masuya is the Deputy Executive Director, United Nations Environment Program. We now invite Ms. Masuya for her remarks.
Thank you. Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Honorable Union Minister, Environment, Forest and Climate, Honorable Minister of State, Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Chief Secretary, Government of Gujarat, Honorable Ministers, Heads of Delegation, Executive Secretary of the Convention on Migratory Species of Wild Animals. Good morning. I would like to start by thanking the Government of India for hosting this conference in the beautiful city of Gandhinagar. I know that India will bring first-class leadership to the South Asia region and to the whole world as the CMS COP president for the next 3 years. When I was young, I often visited my grandparents' home at the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. I would wake each day to the kunguru, a local bird. Their song told us when it was time to get up and when the sun was about to go down. It was the soundtrack to our family's mornings and evenings. As I grew older, roads replaced dirt tracks and the forests were cleared to make way for new homes and a growing population. The birds soon disappeared and we had to buy my grandmother an alarm clock to replace their morning calls. I often think back to the birds at my grandparents' house when I contemplate the number of species we have already lost. The rate of extinction today is on average 1,000 times greater than at any point in the recorded history. Scientist and writer Rachel Carson had it right. We know exactly what extinction sounds like. Extinction sounds like silence, like the loss of birdsong from my grandparents' home. And I know we are all concerned about the loss of nature and the silence that accompanies it. We need to look no further than the devastating wildfires that have recently burned through Australia, the Arctic, and the Amazon to realize that this threat is only rising. The world at 1 degree of warming above the pre-industrial era is already alarming. And yet, despite this bleak outlook, I'm hopeful. I believe we still have an opportunity to reverse course if we all come together to take collective action. To do this, we need to make 2020 a super year of nature. This must be the year we agree to halt and reverse the ecological devastation by pulling together and developing and implementing an ambitious post-2020 biodiversity framework. That is why I'm extremely delighted we are kicking off this critical year with this conference in India. This COP is an opportunity to accelerate efforts to conserve migratory species and their habitats, and to protect the connectivity of these habitats so that species can move between them, allowing biodiversity to flourish. This concept of ecological connectivity provides us with a means by which multiple countries can agree on shared conservation goals beyond national plans and priorities, and offers a strong foundation for international cooperation. We must take advantage of these unique opportunities for internationally coordinated conservation measures and nature-based solutions. Applying to the lens of ecological connectivity to this, and indeed all environmental challenges, means that we are also contributing to global efforts to address climate change mitigation, resilience, adaptation, and land degradation neutrality, to name a few. This is why this CMS is so important. We are losing species at such an alarming rate. The science has spoken. 1 million out of nearly 8 million species face a threat of extinction. This meeting comes at a crucial moment. The UN's Nature Summit takes place later this year. It will be an opportunity for countries to accelerate political momentum and action as we craft the post-2020 global biodiversity framework. This COP will play a major role in shaping this framework, and in doing so, shape the fate of our future and planet. We are so proud to count on the Convention on Migratory Species among the 15 global environmental conventions that dock at UNEP. Because CMS focuses on migratory species that cross national and international boundaries, it has immense power to foster the regional and global collaboration that is so central to stopping the nature crisis that we face today. And we are deeply grateful for the leadership displayed by the government of India, be it in the conservation of migratory birds, the conservation of critically endangered species, including the Asiatic lion, the snow leopard, and the Gangetic dolphin. And finally, for driving the kinds of transboundary cooperation that is so vital to protecting all migratory species on this planet. As the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres told the General Assembly last month, living in harmony with nature is more important than ever. Everything is interlinked, he said. The current discord between humanity and the rest of the natural world means we are in the process of tearing apart nature's web. Let this year be the year we start to repair the damage we have done and put back the pieces so that the natural world and our place in it can flourish once again. I wish you all the very best in deliberations over the coming days and your collective efforts to protect, conserve, and secure the future of migratory species on our planet. We should also remember this is about people. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Amy Frankel is the Executive Secretary of the Convention of Migratory Species and Wild Animals. We now invite Ms. Amy Frankel for her remarks.
Thank you very much. I would first like to express my deepest gratitude and appreciation to Prime Minister Modi for supporting nature and the Convention on Migratory Species by inaugurating CMS COP13. I would also like to give my most sincere and personal thanks to the leaders that grace our presence here today. His Excellency Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Honorable Minister, Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Honorable Minister of State, Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Chief Secretary, Government of Gujarat, Secretary, Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Honorable Ministers, Heads of Delegation, UN Assistant Secretary and Deputy Executive Director of the UN Environment Program, Ms. Joyce Msuya. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you first to the many officials from the Government of India and the State of Gujarat who have worked so hard with us to make COP13 a reality, and for your generosity and warm hospitality. And finally, let me welcome all of the representatives of the UN, our sister conventions, and of course, all of the delegates from parties, non-parties, NGOs, and other stakeholders. Welcome to the biggest CMS COP ever. I arrived at CMS last May as acting executive secretary with this COP on the horizon and many CMS meetings on the calendar, on gorillas, on giraffes, on turtles, on sharks, and many on birds. On about the third day, I smiled as I realized I was in exactly the right place. I grew up with the values of a naturalist, hiking not to conquer the peaks, but to stop frequently along the way, to watch a bird, admire a mushroom, and rejoice in the beauty of the forest. I am honored and energized to serve as Executive Secretary of CMS. I feel like I have come home to work on the issues that are closest to me, and I want to thank the entire CMS family secretariat, all of our parties and partners for making me feel so welcome. It was not easy to step into this role in this way after the tragedy that befell Bradley Chambers. It was his vision to hold this meeting in India, and I hope we will all do him justice and deliver an incredibly successful COP13. CMS just celebrated its 40th anniversary last year. It is therefore fitting that we start this year with CMS COP13 at this very important moment in time for biodiversity and for the planet. First, the UN Global Assessment Report on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services released last year painted a very stark picture about the state of biodiversity and species loss, including that we are at risk of losing 1 million species, which include migratory species, to extinction. We need to go even deeper and better understand what is happening to migratory species, the threats and the solutions, in order to focus and prioritize our actions. We have prepared an initial report on the status of migratory species for this meeting, and already it has some interesting findings, including that over 70% of species on Appendix 1 are declining, and that overexploitation of species, including from direct use, along with habitat loss, are the top threats to our species. Because this work is so important to the work of CMS, we have called for core funding to prepare a flagship report regularly on the status of migratory species. Second, COP13 is where a new strategy for the decade will be adopted. COP13 provides an important opportunity to impact this new framework, building on the stakeholder forum and the high-level segment that were held over the past 2 days. It is crucial that the priorities for CMS are reflected in this new strategy. Third, CMS has a unique role to play, and we clearly need to step up our actions. CMS is the only multilateral treaty dedicated to addressing the needs of migratory species and their habitats. At the heart of CMS is international cooperation, whether at the bilateral, regional, or global scales. This COP will consider new species listings and concerted actions, many resolutions and proposals dealing with species, as well as existing and emerging threats. In addition, I believe that with 1 million species at risk, we may need to consider whether 10 or even 20 or more listing proposals every 3 years is keeping pace, and how else we can raise our ambition and bring greater actions to bear on what is happening to migratory species. Fourth, migratory species are integral to the ecosystems in which they are found, and yes, their value can be shown in terms of dollars, euros, and rupees, but they are much more than that. Migratory species touch people's hearts. They are deeply embedded in many cultures, reflected on national flags, on stamps, on coins, names of sports teams, and in spiritual practices. We need to do more to raise awareness about migratory species and nature. Finally, we need to work together, now more than ever before. CMS is just one legal instrument, and in order to address and direct the indirect and direct drivers of biodiversity loss, climate change, desertification, and other environmental problems, we need to identify common issues and priorities, such as ensuring that the SDGs, which envisioned economic and social development in step with a healthy environment, is achieved. To paraphrase Rachel Carson, the biologist most known for her book Silent Spring, our war against nature is inevitably a war against our future. We are challenged as never before to prove our maturity and our mastery, not of nature, but of ourselves. We have a very busy week ahead of us, and I hope you are all energized and ready to work hard, given the stakes. With the full engagement of all of you and with the leadership of India as the next COP president, I am very optimistic about what we can do together. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We now invite Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, Mr. Babul Supriyo, for his address.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude and regards to the dignitaries on stage, my boss, Honorable Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Shri Prakash Javadekar, Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Shri Rupani ji, Deputy Executive Director of UNEP, Amy, Executive Secretary of CMC, Joyce. I swapped the names. I'm sure you're going to, I migrated the names, but you're going to swap that. All honorable foreign ministers who are present here. Thank you so much for migrating from your own countries to India. I hope you like what you see, and I hope you're going to enjoy and enlighten each other with what we are going to exchange in terms of ideas, inspiration, etc. in the next few days. As Amy said, we do have a very long and strong weekend ahead of discussions and exchange of ideas. Chief Secretary of Gujarat, our very own Secretary from the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, distinguished dignitaries and guests, it's a great honor that India is hosting the COP13, and we are celebrating, and we are very, very determined to make this world a better place for migrating species and animals who, without any kind of ATS support, air traffic control support, can fly from one place to the other. And they do that every year, seeking for love and better environment. It is also a great proud moment because in a little while we are going to have our Honorable Prime Minister, our driving force, who is going to address all of us and ceremonially kickstart this particular event. CMS brings together the countries for internationally coordinated conservation measures through migratory range of animals. This COP is an opportune time to renew contacts and discuss problems of migratory species conservation with delegates from different countries. I am proud, very proud, that the 13th COP is happening in the land of Mahatma Gandhi, who once said, "What we are doing to the forests of the world is but a mirror reflection of what we are doing to ourselves and one another." The concept of, very interestingly, the concept of conservation of wildlife is also enshrined in the Indian Constitution itself. The Constitution says that it shall be the fundamental duty of every citizen to protect and improve the natural environment, including forest, wildlife, and its habitats. India, as you know, offers a rich panorama of ecosystems across its forests. It's a huge country with humongous different kinds of species and topographical and geographical diversity. Forests, coasts, and wetlands. India has been protecting its wildlife from the time immemorial. I take great pleasure in introducing to you a very traditional practice which has been celebrated in India for a very long time and which contributed towards creating the logo of this particular COP. The concept of the CMS COP13 logo is also inspired by one such Indian tradition called kolam from southern India, which is of profound significance in the context of living in harmony with the mother nature. The people just don't decorate the doorsteps, but serve as bird and insect feed as they're drawn with rice powder every morning before sunrise. So the birds come in, they have the food, and they fly away. This unique gesture signifies our respect for all the species sublimely built into our culture. The form of the kolam is used here as the main graphic element composed of the migrating species we want to protect as part of the CMS COP13. As you all know, the theme of the CMS COP13 is Migratory Species Connect the Planet, and together we welcome them home, which is derived from the ethos of Indian culture, Atithi Deva Bhava, meaning guests are gods. In the recent past, I must tell you that the government of India have incorporated several acts which ensures the protection of forest and wildlife, which includes the Indian Forest Act as long back as in 1927, the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, the Forest Conservation Act 1980, Environment Protection Act 1986, and the Biological Diversity Act 2002. With these continuous efforts, several protected areas have been created across the country. The number of protected areas in the country is increasing, and we are one of the few states, few countries in the world where our forest cover has actually gone up. The total area under PA is now 1,65,088 square kilometers. To check I wish to also mention one more significant thing. To check the decline in the population of vultures in India. Vultures are great natural scavengers, and we need them in our society, and to keep a cleaner environment, and they are very much part of our ecosystem. To check the decline in the population of vulture in India, Government of India has not only researched but found out the reason why the population of vultures were decreasing, and it was found that the veterinary use of diclofenac, a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, which is extensively used in humans, it was responsible for the mass death of vultures. However, after banning that particular chemical, the death has declined significantly, and we are hoping that we are going to get back the number of vultures that have been lost due to some carelessness. Let's celebrate this super year of biodiversity, wildlife as COP for migratory species. In a way, we are all migratory species. We fly from one city to the other. We move from one department to the other. There are several ministers here. You never know whether you're going to be the same minister in the same department. So you might today be the environment minister, tomorrow you could be the petroleum minister, you could be the coal minister today, tomorrow. So we are all migrating. While we do that, we leave one place, we wish to leave one place singing in happiness about the love that we have received there, and then fly through a very clean and enjoy our journey as we move on and migrate to another place where we are received with love and a better environment. The migratory species, none of them can speak. They sing, they make noises, but they cannot complain. And therefore, they must be very happy to know that all of us have actually got together to exchange ideas and to really have a resolute and make the world a better place in the days to come. And on a lighter note, they are also going to be very happy to know that between this 15th and 22nd of February, during this entire COP, there is going to be no meat served to in any of the meals that you're going to get. So I once again welcome all of you. It's a great honor, and I hope you're going to enjoy and make world a better place and make the migratory species live a more happy life ever after. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, sir. We now are honored to invite Honorable Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, Shri Prakash Javadekar, for his address.
Welcome, everybody. The beautiful anthem for this COP. The singer is my colleague, Babul Supriyo. Big round of... Vijay Rupani ji, our esteemed colleague and Chief Minister of Gujarat, Amy Frankel, Joyce Masuya, and all dignitaries on dais. This is one of the biggest COP of CME from 3,250 registration till date. So it's a huge from 130 countries, and all activists, researchers, and everybody is here. And so we welcome them all. India has to be seen in context. We have only 2.5% of the land. We have 17% of the human population, 18% of the cattle population, 4% of natural rainwater, 8% of mammals, 12% of birds, 6% of reptiles, 4% of amphibian, and 11% of piscine. So this is the diversity of India, biodiversity of India, and this is what is the strength of India. For us, nature is part of our life cycle. We say Vyashti, Samashti, Srishti, Parmeshti. Vyashti is a person, Samashti is society, individual's relationship with society, then Srishti is all nature to put together, and Parmeshti, that's the final goal of anybody. So we worship trees, animals, we keep part of our food for insects also. That's our culture. And therefore, this is very natural to us. Migrating species is a most fascinating topic. And we have whale shark, humpback whale, great Indian bustard, turtles, dugong, and many other migratory species also coming from various planets. My only point which I want to make is, we must ensure people's participation in conservation. I heard yesterday some panel member was suggesting we must have more stricter rules. But if we make strict rules and laws, that doesn't save planet. Planet can be saved only by having people participating in it voluntarily. And therefore, don't put unrealistic conditions for preservation, and don't convert friends into enemy. This is very important. I can go on because I have no time today, but the friends of animals became against them because they thought that my livelihood has been impacted because you have done it in CITES, because you have done it in various laws, and therefore my livelihood is impacted. So he becomes anti to the very development process, conservation process. And therefore, I hope that this COP will definitely come out with solutions. and our Prime Minister, who will be inaugurating in very short time, is a real nature lover. He has a full commitment, and therefore he has created International Solar Agency, the world's greatest renewable program also, and at the same time, he went to forest for Discovery Channel also, and went 5 kilometers and saw the world by himself. So he is enthusiastic, committed, and understand the nature and climate change. He started first climate change department and ministry in state of Gujarat when he was chief minister. And therefore, we welcome him. And now over to my colleague, chief minister. No, he'll be speaking afterwards. So now Prime Minister will be here to address us, and we will get to know of his vision. He is a man with a vision and with a mission. And therefore, in Paris Agreement, he brought it, the Indian lifestyle or the lifestyle as an issue, and has also talked about climate justice. And in the end, he created such a legacy in lion conservation and in everywhere that everybody in the world looks to him as an environment leader, and therefore UN has awarded him with a great champion of earth award, and that's why we welcome our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi.
Thank you, sir. And it's now over to Delhi for the video linking with Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, a visionary leader working in mission mode to realize his supreme dream of regenerating and transforming India. His governance model, a development plus model for shaping a new India, is based on bold initiatives such as Make in India, Startup India, Skill India, Clean India, Digital India. Honorable Prime Minister's concern and commitment to the cause of conservation and climate change is reflected in the books authored by him, Convenient Action, Gujarat's Response to Challenges of Climate Change, and Convenient Action, Continuity for Change. In a few moments from now, we will have Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi addressing this 13th Convention on Conservation of Migratory Species. As we eagerly await Honorable Prime Minister's address, we would like to share the Gujarat experience on conservation. Our Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Vijay Rupani, known for his hard work, perseverance, and mass connect, is committed to the cause of conservation. And under his enlightened leadership, Department of Environment and Forests, Government of Gujarat, has a comprehensive plan for creating infrastructure for the conservation of endangered Asiatic lions and other wild animals, equipped with the latest devices in the Gir National Park and Sanctuary. Gujarat's unique launch of Karuna Abhiyan and Karuna Ambulance are a campaign for compassion towards animals, the first of its kind in the country. His concern and commitment towards conservation of wildlife was reflected in the fast action the state government took during an outbreak of the canine distemper virus, CDV, when they could procure the vaccinations from the US within 24 hours and save the big cats. The Forest Department of Gujarat, under his leadership, has become the first for radio collaring individuals of a large number of single species, the Asiatic lions. We are indeed honored to have with us Honorable Union Minister Shri Prakash Javadekar ji, a senior politician of the Bharatiya Janata Party who has spearheaded and implemented many ambitious projects, policies and programs for Government of India. Honorable Union Minister Mr. Prakash Javadekar has given a clarion call to make conservation of environment and forests a people's movement, urging youth to lend a big hand in this endeavor. We also have with us Mr. Babul Supriyo, who was introduced to the Bharatiya Janata Party in 2014, won the general elections from Asansol, West Bengal, to become the youngest minister in the Narendra Modi government. Marking the occasion of Global Tiger Day, Honorable Union Minister of State, Mr. Supriyo, launched for cross-sectoral approach on tiger conservation formulated by the National Tiger Conservation Authority. After the Prime Minister's address, we will be listening to Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Shri Vijay Rupani ji, after which there will be a release of a commemorative stamp by Government of India at the hands of Honorable Union Minister, Honorable Chief Minister. We are indeed honored to invite Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, for his keynote address through video conferencing. Namaskar, Honorable Prime Minister, sir.
Welcome you all to the 13th Conference of Parties of the Convention on Migratory Species at Gandhinagar, the land of Mahatma Gandhi. India is one of the most diverse countries of the world. With 2.4% of world's land area, it contributes about 8% of the known global biodiversity. India is blessed with diverse ecological habitats and also has 4 biodiversity hotspots. They are the Eastern Himalayas, Western Ghats, Indo-Myanmar landscape, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. In addition, India is also home to around 500 species of migratory birds from across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, for ages, conservation of wildlife and habitats has been a part of the cultural ethos of India, which encourages compassion and coexistence. Our Vedas spoke of protection of animals. Emperor Ashoka put great emphasis on preventing the destruction of forests and the killing of animals. Inspired by Gandhiji, the ethos of non-violence and protection of animals and nature has been suitably enshrined in the Constitution of India. It also finds reflection in several laws and legislations. Sustained efforts over the years have led to encouraging results. The number of protected areas have increased from 745 in 2014 to 870 in the year 2019, with an area coverage of nearly 170,000 square kilometers. India's forest cover has increased significantly. The present assessment also indicates that the total forest cover is 21.67% of the total geographical area of the country. India has been championing climate action based on the values of conservation, sustainable lifestyle, and green development model. The range of our initiatives include ambitious target of 450 megawatt in renewable energy, push towards electric vehicles, smart cities, conservation of water. The International Solar Alliance, the coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure, and industry transition leadership with Sweden have seen encouraging participation from wide array of countries. India is one of the few countries whose actions are compliant with the Paris Agreement goal of keeping rise in temperature to below 2 degrees Celsius. Friends, India has initiated focus species conservation projects program. These have shown great results. The number of tiger reserves has increased from 9 since its formative years to 50 at present. At present, India has the distinction of having a population of almost 2,970 tigers. India has achieved its target of doubling the number of tigers 2 years before the committed date of 2022. I call upon tiger range countries present here and also others to come together to strengthen tiger conservation through sharing of benchmarking practices. India is supporting more than 60% of global Asian elephant population. 30 elephant reserves have been identified by our states. India has also taken several initiatives and set standards for conservation of Asian elephants. We have launched Project Snow Leopard to protect the snow leopard and its habitat in the upper Himalayas. India recently hosted the steering committee of the Global Snow Leopard Ecosystem Program of 12 countries, which resulted in New Delhi Declaration envisaging development of country-specific framework and cooperation between countries for snow leopard conservation. I am happy to share that India would be taking a leadership role in promoting green economy, including conservation of mountain ecology with people's participation. Friends, the Gir landscape in Gujarat is the only home for the Asiatic lion and the pride of the country. We have initiated an Asiatic lion conservation project since January 2019 to protect the Asiatic lion. I am happy to share that today the population of Asiatic lions stands at 523. In India, the one-horned rhinoceros are found in 3 states of Assam, Uttar Pradesh, and West Bengal. The government of India launched the National Conservation Strategy for the Indian one-horned rhinoceros in the year 2019. The great Indian bustard, a critically endangered birds, has also been at the focus of our conservation efforts. As part of the captive breeding program, 9 eggs have been successfully hatched from the wild. This has been accomplished by Indian scientists and Forest Department with technical assistance from International Fund for Huwara Conservation, Abu Dhabi. We have therefore made the mascot GIBI, the great, as a tribute to the great Indian bustard. Friends, India is honored to host the 13th Conference of Parties to the Convention on Migratory Species at Gandhi Nagar. As you might have noticed, the CM's COP 13 logo is inspired by the traditional column from southern India, which has a profound significance in the context of living in harmony with the nature. Friends, we have been traditionally participating the mantra of Atithi Devo Bhava. This has been reflected in the slogan, theme for the CM's COP 13, Migratory Species, connect the planet and together we welcome them home. These species move between countries without any passports or visa, but are messengers of peace and prosperity, and it is our responsibility to protect them. Ladies and gentlemen, India would hold the presidency of this convention for the coming 3 years. During its presidency, India would steer in the following areas. India is a part of the Central Asian flyway for migratory birds. With a view to conserve the birds along the Central Asian flyway and their habitats, India has prepared a national action plan for conservation of migratory birds along the Central Asian flyway. India would be happy to facilitate preparations of action plan for other countries in this regard. We are keen to take the conservation of migratory birds to a new paradigm with active cooperation of all the Central Asian flyway range countries. I also wish to establish an institutional mechanism for undertaking research, studies, assessment, capacity development, and conservation initiatives by creating a common platform. Friends, India has about 7,500 kilometers coastline, and Indian marine waters are rich in biodiversity with innumerable species. India proposed to strengthen its association with the ASEAN and East Asia Summit countries. This would be in sync with the Indo-Pacific Ocean initiatives, wherein India will be playing a leadership role. India by 2020 will be launching its marine turtle policy and marine standing management policy. This will also address the pollution caused by microplastics. Single-use plastics have been a challenge for environment protection, and we in India have been on a mission mode to reduce its usage. Friends, several protected areas in India share common boundaries with the protected areas of neighboring countries. Cooperation in conservation of wildlife through establishment of trans-boundary protected areas would lead to very positive outcomes. Friends, my government firmly believes in the path of sustainable development. We are ensuring that development happens without harming the environment. We have released the linear infrastructure policy guidelines to tailor development in ecological fragile areas. People are being made important stakeholders in the task of preserving the natural resources for future generations. My government has been marching ahead with the slogan Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas. Millions of people in the vicinity of forest area in the country have now been integrated in the form of joint forestry management committees and eco-development committees and associated with the protection of forest and wildlife. Friends, I'm sure this conference will provide an excellent platform for experience sharing and capacity building in the areas of species and habitat conservation. I also hope you will get the time to experience India's hospitality and rich diversity. Thank you. Thank you very much. Enjoy your stay. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister, sir, for that inspiring and enlightening address, which this August gathering will remember for many more years to come. We now invite Honorable Chief Minister Shri Vijay Rupani for his concluding address.
Good morning, everyone. Bonjour, hola, Honorable Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Sri Prakash Javadekar ji, Minister of State, Sri Babul Supriyo ji, Executive Secretary, APCMSME, Deputy Executive Director, United Nations Environment Programme, Acting Executive Secretary of Convention of Biodiversity, Secretary, Central Government, Environment Department, Chief Secretary, Gujarat, Minister from various countries, Minister from other states, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. My dear media friends, I welcome the delegates from across the globe to Gujarat, the land of Mahatma Gandhi, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and visionary Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We are happy to host this prestigious COPCMS event. The delegation from the Philippines is also here today, which holds the current CMS presidency. We appreciate their dedicated efforts and assured to take the legacy forward. Migratory birds connect the planet. Let it bring us all together for wildlife conservation, especially the species that are migrating across several countries and continents. Gujarat is also an important migratory flyway, and we are taking steps to keep it intact and seamless. Indian philosophy of Vasundhaivam Kutumbakam gels very well with the theme. We welcome all our guests by saying Atithi Devo Bhava. The guest is like God that also holds for the migrating species. Gujarat has long tradition and successful conservation stories. Life whale shark, Asiatic lions, Indian of migratory birds during this part of the year. Community in Gujarat take a great pride in their protection. We feel them like our family. Our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi, when he was Chief Minister of Gujarat, gave great boost to our conservation efforts. He has also championed the creation of International Solar Alliance. Gujarat is now leading in the total solar power capacity installation. We already have 9,000 megawatt installed capacity in solar and wind energy. Our aim is to achieve 30 gigawatts of green and clean energy by 2020. We are committed to reducing our carbon footprints. Gujarat is leading India in green and clean energy. Gujarat is also the best state managing its water resourcing. The conference, a robust agenda in before us, and I would look forward to a very ambitious Gandhinagar declaration. focusing on post-2020 global biodiversity framework. As we have other speakers to listen to, I conclude once again thanking you all, wish you all a very memorable Gujarat experience. Merci beaucoup, muchas gracias, Jai Hind.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Minister, sir. We take this opportunity to release the customized CMS COP 13 My Stamp through the Department of Post, Government of India. We request Principal Chief Conservator of Forest and Head of Forest Force, Government of Gujarat, Dr. D.K. Sharma, to present the stamp album to Honorable Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Mr. Prakash Javadekar. We invite Honorable Minister, Mr. Prakash Javadekar, to release the stamp. The stamp depicts the CMS COP 13 logo inspired by kolam, a traditional art form from southern India made with rice flour, outside every house every morning, which serves as bird and insect feed. The geometrical design depicts key migratory species in India like Amur falcon, humpback whale, and marine turtles. The stamp also depicts the mascot for CMS COP 13, GB, the Great Indian Bustard, launched in 2019 by Honorable Union Minister Mr. Javadekar, since India is undertaking many initiatives to save this critically endangered species. Thank you, sir. Thank you, dignitaries. We now invite Chief Secretary of Gujarat, Mr. Anil Mukim, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good morning to all of you. First and foremost, our deep sense of gratitude and sincere thanks to Honorable Prime Minister for his very, very inspiring address. We are elated to have the Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Shri Vijay Rupani ji, Honorable Union Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Shri Prakash Javadekar ji, Honorable Minister of State for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Shri Babu Supriyo ji, my colleague, Shri C.K. Mishra ji, representatives from international and national community committed to conservation of wildlife amidst us today in this green city of Gandhinagar, Gujarat. On this occasion, I thank the CMS Secretariat and Government of India for giving Gujarat the opportunity of hosting this prestigious international event at this convention center named after Mahatma Gandhi ji, who was a great Indian ambassador of conservation of nature. Gujarat Forest Department has been working hard since last 1 year for making this event a success. It gives me immense pleasure, and I'm very happy to note that COP is regarding such a noble cause, that is the conservation of migratory species which connect our planet. I'm extremely thankful to all of you, especially the dignitaries from various international organizations, for attending the COP. I find the agenda of deliberations very extensive and elaborate, covering a diversity of subjects, varied concerns, and cross-cutting issues. I am sure that the deliberations will be very useful and purposeful, and you all will come out with very fruitful resolutions. I express my deep gratitude to honorable ministers from various Indian states for gracing this event. Your presence here symbolizes our intent for collective action towards conservation of migratory species and their habitats. I am also thankful to the media persons who are covering this event and spreading the message of biodiversity conservation. India will be taking over the presidency for the next 3 years. We take great pride in leading the intergovernmental initiatives in conservation of migratory species and their habitats under the CMS. I am certain that at the end of this COP CMS, the Gandhinagar Declaration will go a long way in strengthening this cause. I once again thank you all and wish you a great time. Thank you.
With that, we conclude this inaugural session and move on to our next segment soon after the dignitaries take their seats in the auditorium. We all will kindly remain seated as we transit to the next segment. We request Honorable Union Minister Shri Prakash Javadekar ji and Ms. Amy Frankel to please remain on the dais as we transit to the second segment. But before we move on to the next segment, which is the segment to begin the official agenda of the meeting, we bring to you a film on nature conservation, specially prepared for the occasion by Government of Gujarat.